ready? Whew. One, two. Welcome back to Just a Girl Talk. My name is Janine, for those who are new to my channel, and I have yet another special guest. I told you that all my guests are special, and this is Chanel. And Chanel and I, when I started Just a Girl 2 years ago, Chanel was like one of the first people to like show me so much support to like never have met me. I'm not really sure how our pages cross one another, but she has been consistently supporting Just a Girl and supporting me, and I see her as a big sister for me because of, you know, her being able to share her truth and share so much of herself. So I thought, you know, why not have someone who has supported me for so long to bring her on my channel and us have such a conversation that I think is something that many women might get caught in between, trying to figure out which way to go when it comes to men and dating and infidelity. So today we're going to be talking about the topic of once a cheater, always a cheater. But before we jump into the topic, I'm going to let Chanel introduce herself and tell you guys a little bit about herself and her business and, you know, all that she's doing.
Well, thank you, Nene. And I don't want to piggyback off of Nene because, like you said, far as supporting her and not actually knowing her, I'm really big on just the whole women empowering thing. And it was crazy because not having to meet her, and you know how a lot of times we could be kind of like stereotyping people and stuff like that, but she just seemed it so real and so genuine that I just felt we connected right there, and we haven't even met. It was just, you know, through some of her posts and, you know, her content that she would post, and I was like, yeah, that's what we need to link up or whatever the case may be. But like she said, my name is Chanel. I have one business. It's called Wear Your Faith. I sell apparel and things of that nature, but it also, the apparel that I sell is leaning more towards the spiritual, just uplifting, to remind us all. Sometimes when we feeling down, you know, we need a pick me up, and why not wear it, right? So I don't have it on today, and I'm sorry because I was going to wear it. It was crazy because I was going to wear it, but I was like, and then my husband told me, I want to take you on a date after.
Yeah, I would definitely tag Chanel's brand and her Instagram for you guys to follow. I'm gonna jump right into the conversation. And as I said, we're talking about the topic of once a cheater, always a cheater. And what I will start by saying, again, for, you know, I'm getting new followers and new subscribers, I am married, and I have been married for 3 years. I've been with my husband since 2008. So 12 years, right? Yeah. Almost 12 years. And how long have you been? Chanel's married as well. How long have you been married, Chanel?
I've been married this year, September made 9 years. And
9 years. It's like, are y'all going to renew your vows at 10?
We are. Yes.
You are? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's exciting. So, you know, we're speaking to women from 2 long-term relationships. And my husband has pretty much been my only serious relationship other than, like, you know, when you're in high school and younger. And so I haven't had many relationships. In my relationship, in my marriage, I personally have never dealt with infidelity. And I say it in the most humbling, thankful way that I have not had to experience that thus far. And I appreciate it because sometimes I think, even for me, I remember going through moments like wondering, like, I don't even want to say why, but I just kind of was like, is this too good to be true? Like, everybody goes, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just something that happened. So I felt like whenever I would have conversations with other women and they would talk about it, I would feel like, I almost felt like people would think I'm better than someone if I said I haven't experienced that. You know, like, just that, like, well, I can't really relate to going through that experience because I've never been through it. And I felt like I would get like that, like, girl, you lying, or girl, you know. And it's like, I haven't. And again, it's for me to say it in the most humbling way. I'm going to speak from my experience of if it did happen to me or how I could approach the situation.
So, I have experienced some infidelity in our marriage. Like I said, we've been married for 9 years, and I want to say back in 2016
Okay.
is when I found out that he had started this wasn't a one night stand
Oh.
type of thing.
Okay. Okay.
It wasn't a one night stand, but me and him was going through a lot in our marriage. We was going through, financial problems and just probably just in the past of just childhood, just like hurt and never been healed type of thing. So back in 2016 is when it all came out about this another young lady. And of course, at first he wasn't willing to admit it, and then he came out and he told me. Now, when he told me, of course, I was devastated.
Right.
And I didn't know what to do. And all I can do was just maybe probably like a couple, because he left for a while.
Okay.
But we didn't, I wanted us to separate. But then after talking to like family members, and that's not always good neither, but after talking to some family members, and no, none of them were married.
Okay.
But after talking to them, they was like, well, people make mistakes and this, that, and the third, and, forgive them. And I'm thinking like, all right, well, yeah, but I don't know. That when I found out, I just was devastated. I really didn't know what to do. He left for a few days, maybe a week at the longest. And all I know is that he would constantly call me and apologize. Like, he didn't know what to do neither. Like, and I'm just like, at that time, I just was like, you know what? I need to turn to God, because I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I wanted to get a divorce. I just went to God. Like, even after listening to people's opinions and things, I went to God. And then I talked to my aunt later, like a while. Because
is your aunt married, or was
she
married?
She was married before or whatever, but she's very spiritual.
Okay.
And we talked, and she basically, her first thing was she couldn't tell me what to do, but she told me that her suggestion was to forgive him.
Okay.
And I didn't know. I felt like I did, but you know how they're saying how you can forgive a person, but you can never forget.
Right.
So that when I found out, it was in July. So that rest of that year, I was struggling. So it was a real hard time for me, or whatever. So like I said, we got through it though.
Right.
We did. We got through it. It was not easy, and no, you would never forget it. We did try we went to counseling for a while, for a minute, not that long, but we want to say the only reason, I think, if I could just be honest, is because God. Because I don't think nobody else, or I don't even think myself, like if I didn't have God in me, I don't think that I would have stayed.
Okay. And that is something that, obviously, like, you had to find whatever was in you, and for you it was, going to your faith and remembering what you took the vows. I think the tough thing is, like you said, talking to people about it, and people who aren't married makes it even worse. And you might have family members who are saying like, girl, just leave, because they've been through it and they left and they were fine, so that is the challenging thing. And I appreciate and thank you for being willing to share that. But the good thing is, you made it to the other side. And like you said, it's not easy, but you did it. I think that knowing the man that you're with kind of can change your perception of the once a cheater, always a cheater. I am a woman who am not naive at all, and I don't believe my husband would never do this. And I also think that for me, this might sound crazy, but like how it's done,
right?
Like I think that how a man chooses to step out of the home and what he chooses to do, and if I'm feeling like I was embarrassed, or it was, back, if you're going back then, it probably wasn't as much social media, all these things. But like, if you're people are cheating in today's time where social media is so prevalent, like women are finding out so many things about their spouse and their relationship on social media, and that's the most embarrassing thing. Did those thoughts of when you decide to forgive your husband, of constantly worried about if he's going to do it again? Like,
it took me a while. Like I want to say it took me almost last year.
Really?
It took me almost last year. Not like I was thinking like, is he going to go back out there cheating?
Right,
but like, did I really fully forgive him for cheating?
Okay.
I never, because my thing is, if I forgive you,
I can't keep bringing it up.
I can't
Right.
keep bringing it up.
Right.
Exactly. So that was the hardest thing, trying not to think about it. Like, think about the other woman. And like I said, this wasn't a one night stand. Like, he was kind of like in a relationship with this young lady for almost 7 months.
Wow. Okay.
So it was a while.
Right.
And you know, like I said, it was hard, but it was never any doubt. Like, once I fully got over it, it was never a doubt in my mind, like, all right, is he going to go back and cheat again?
Okay.
I'm not gonna say that your mind doesn't wonder, but when it did, I was like, you know what? Whatever's in the dark will always come to light. So
Right.
I'm not going to hang that over his head, and I have to trust him. So
Right.
he has to gain his trust back. Because, like you said, if I forgave you, then I can't keep bringing it back up.
Right.
I don't want to think that.
Yeah, because you also don't want to, I think, just constantly bring that, like, negative energy back. You know, when you're constantly thinking that, or like you said, forget. I know I am someone who, I do firmly believe, if I forgive you, to not bring it back up. It's not easy to do. You know, it's not easy to say you forgive, because you're human still, right? And you might have one trigger, one flashback, but then, like you said, you think about, like, it takes time to forgive, and then, you know, when you have a family and you're trying to keep your family going, it's a struggle with trying to, like, work through this. Then you have your kids who might be, you know, seeing what's going on. They might not fully know to the extent of what is happening, but they know that something is going on between my mom and my dad. Did your kids know?
They did.
They did. Okay. Did they feel a certain way toward their dad?
My oldest son did.
He did. Okay.
He did. He was he wasn't rebellious, but I want to say it's almost like he kind of lost respect for his dad for a while, or whatever, and then he had to build up that relationship again.
Yeah, because it was like, you hurt my mom. And that's the thing, where kids get very protective of their mom. And you could have been, I was doing your dad dirty, but you don't even know, because it's my mom, you know what I mean? And it's like, you kind of don't want to put your kids in that situation to be explaining all that, but it's just the natural thing for kids to just, it's your mom, and that's just that, and all you know is you cheated on my mom, and I don't care no more, you know?
He was what? My son was 15, 16.
Okay, yeah, so he he's older. He's already probably messing with girls himself and just knowing what's happening, you know what I mean? So that's a lot, you know, and boys love their mom, you know, like, ain't nobody's business, love their mama. Oh, did your husband have an open conversation with him about it? Do you know?
I don't know if he ever had an open conversation. I know he came back and just apologized.
Okay.
Like, he just was apologizing to, like, everybody. Like, the two younger ones, they did, I think everybody knew. Because at that point, I was just like, just telling it off. Like, just telling it off. Go get your dad, because he was then my youngest daughter was, like, crying, like, no, Dad, I don't want you to leave.
When you're in a relationship for so long and it's so much invested that there is other ways you can be broken than to, you know, for you to be just to be cheated on, you know. I don't know if you agree with that, but
no, I do. I was about to be like, girl, you so right. No, I have to agree with her. Cheating, yes, is one, but there's so many other things in a marriage or in a relationship that can cause a lot of hurt, aching pain, brokenness, or whatever. So no, I totally agree. Cheating is not, you know, it's on a list.
Right, like, you don't want to undermine, because, like I said, it's very disrespectful, it's very hurtful, it breaks your vows, all those things, but again, like I said, I think it's so many other, I'm trying to think, like, for me, I think to blatantly, like I said, the disrespect and how men can be disrespectful toward women, you know, they can go hand in hand. Like I said, I think for me, the act of cheating is one thing, but how you do it can break me more. Right. You know, like the fact that you slept with someone, you had sexual intercourse, yes, but again, like how you're doing it, if you're flaunting this woman around, if you're going out in public, like, it's no big deal. You know what I mean? Like, you have kids, you have people who can see you, like, the fact that you don't even care about my feelings, you know, that is the other side of it that I try to break down. Like, cheating is, in itself, is a whole, like, different like layers to peel back of how, you know, it happens and how it can be done. Like I said, in today's time with social media, you really don't want to be embarrassed in that way, and everybody can see it, and you might not want to tell nobody, but then everybody knows because of social media.
There's no excuse why a woman or a man should cheat if they're married, right? But when not a but how can I put however, right? I don't want to give him an excuse,
exactly.
I never gave him an excuse, and he knows that, but my thing is. And I don't want to say I pushed them to their limit, because I want to say in the beginning when I said our marriage, we were struggling in our marriage, we were going through things, and we had a lot on our plate, and at times I felt myself neglecting him, and then when we got into different arguments, I would say different things because I couldn't be there for him, because like I said, I was going through my own things and he was going through his own things, and so. I don't want to say I kind of pushed him in the arms of another woman. No, because I didn't put a gun. I didn't make him. But I didn't show him what he needed. And then also, if a man isn't sure of themselves or confident or feeling manly, or if their woman isn't helping to build them up. And at the time, I wasn't. Because I was doing things, not doing things, but I was had my own problems mentally. Right. So I wasn't there to help him and what he was going through and trying to understand what he was going through. So I was pushing him away. Go ahead, do what you gotta do. These are some of the things I would say to him. I don't care. Do whatever you gotta do. And I'm just being honest. No, I was just being selfish. But it took a lot for me to understand what he was going through, and like I said, going to counseling and him opening up and really hearing him out or whatever was okay. And then I would think okay, but did I push him? No, I didn't push him, because then here go the thing well, maybe I made him. And it was no, you and he would say it. If he was here, he would say no, you didn't push me, but he even hate that he even did it. He hate the fact that he even did it. And then I know I said it was ongoing. And it was ongoing, he came home every night. I never knew. Okay. I never knew, but you know how that woman instinct?
You just know something.
I just knew something was off. Right? And then it came out. And when it came out, it wasn't good. It was ugly, but I forgave him, and to actually fully because I know the topic is once a cheater, always a cheater. I don't think that is true at all. And I think it depends on the person. I really think it depends on the man and the woman. So no, I don't think that he will go out and do that again.
I do think you bring a good point about, as women, recognizing how. And I think it's hard when you're trying to not make excuses for cheating and not make it okay. But I do think we have to be as realistic as possible and not naive to what we do as women to contribute to why men choose to step outside of their marriage or their relationships. And I think that's one of the things that we're not taught growing up, or as women, like I said, and I think in our community and the way our mothers were raised and our grandmothers and how their relationships were, we're not being taught of how much we can contribute to why men do the certain things that we do. We're just told oh no, a man better never, if they cheat on you, then they're wrong. And again, they're not right, obviously, but we can get to a point where we are pushing them in a direction, not physically, and we're not telling you go ahead, get out my face, go cheat on me, but in so many ways you're saying it without saying it.
That was kind of you just know that was just kind of what it was, to lead him in that direction, of another woman or whatever the case may be. But I think it's also too what you said with the upbringing and my mom teaching me, and my mom was married, and she was married for a very long time, and then her husband, separated. They never got a divorce, but they separated, and they still are separated. They've been separated for the past 15 or 16 years or whatever. But my mom has always been strong-minded and independent, and I want to think that I kind of got some of my characteristics from her. So, I was taught listen, not saying that I didn't need my husband, but
you're taught you're better off by yourself.
Right. Listen, okay, but that didn't mean that it was right, because I was neglecting his feelings,
Mm-hmm.
and I was, you know, just like, well, listen, I don't care, whatever, but that wasn't right, because
Mm-hmm.
and I think we also think because they're a man that they're not supposed to have, you know, emotions or
Mm-hmm.
show, or, you know, they just supposed to provide for their family and, you know, do things for their wife and that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really more to it than that. So
No, I agree, and I definitely agree with like I said, it goes back to the idea of, again, how we're raised and what we're taught, about we're strong black women and we could be bad all by ourselves. Black women have been broken and beaten down so badly by black men and men in general that they can't let it go. You know, do you feel like when you were going through that, once you and your husband made it through it, that your family or your friends were questioning why you stayed, or, you know, or they couldn't believe that you kind of like let him get away with cheating type of
to be honest, not really. No.
That's good.
A few, you know, younger unmarried relative would probably be like, well, girl, just leave.
Right.
Or, and then at the time it probably was in my mind too, like, I'm leaving, I'm getting a divorce,
Yeah.
I'm just I'm over this. But yeah, no, I ain't listening.
Marriage is not easy, and I'm only 3 years in, so to be 9, I'm like,
Yes.
Lord Jesus. I don't know why it's so hard. You know, it's one of the things, like, it's like, why is it so hard?
Yes.
You know, like, why does it have to be so challenging?
You want to go through, listen, that's your lifelong partner. Y'all going to go through things. Y'all going to scream and shout. Like they're saying how people post up pictures looking cute on the gram,
right.
but behind closed doors, you throwing a shoe at them.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, that's the truth. Like you said, no marriage is easy. But, you know, through love, trust, and communication, and God, girl, wait, I didn't tell y'all. I'm sorry. It went so far as going live on TV. This was his way of apologizing to me.
Wow.
We went all the way to LA, and at first I was like, no way.
Right.
And then, you know, all the producers was calling me, and you know how.
Wait, what show was this?
The guy was a white guy. He was like kind of buff. I forgot his name. I gotta Google it or whatever. But this was back in 2016.
Wow.
We did it for like in October sometime.
Okay.
Or whatever. But he went on live TV. Girl, I wouldn't, that whole year, like family members, like after it aired, because it aired in February.
Okay.
We did it in October, and it aired in February. So when my family and my aunts all them called, you know, like, he literally broke down. He cried, and it wasn't like fake. Like,
right, it was like,
you know how they be trying to
make you yeah,
hype it up, and he just was like, no, and you know, went through a lie detector test and all this. Like, my poor husband went.
Oh, he was gonna fight for his wife. Okay,
he really did. That was his way of trying to fight for me, like fight for his family. Like, listen, I'll do whatever it takes to just win you back over.
Right, it's like, I don't care. You know, this is what I chose to do. We have a child together. Again, if you're the woman thinking like, what was I doing? Like, you know what I mean? And again, it's like hard trying to not make excuses. Once again, we're not making excuses.
No, we're not.
We're cheating, but
Absolutely
we are
not.
saying that we just, as women, have to be realistic.
You know your husband, so you know something is off, or you know your boyfriend, so you know something is off, and vice versa. You know the individual.
Right.
So once you know the individual and you learned that person is like, something ain't off.
Right.
I don't quite know what it is.
Right, but it's something.
But something is off.
As women, and this is just for us to give some advice. If you want to give some advice to women, I think that we have to, like you said, not push our husband away, and or our spouses or men away, and neglect their emotions. You can't go 10 years and not have sex with your husband or your spouse and be looking like, why you cheat on me? Like, you know?
Right.
Girl, what you think you cheated for? Because you're not like,
you're not giving them nothing.
You know? and that's the thing where it's like, we think like, we are just so invincible,
that
and we
was
can
me.
just like
that was me. That girl, you is so on point. That was me, like literally 3 years ago. And I don't want to think that I was like that in my whole marriage, but I mean, I probably was. I got married at 24, right?
Okay.
And then I got, you know, like I said, 3 years ago, or maybe longer, you know, I had this attitude like, he ain't never gonna cheat, he ain't gonna never do this, like, and then it was like to the point where it's like, I don't care, like, I just threw up this I don't care attitude, like, I don't care what you do, like, I was being selfish and wasn't being considerate to his feelings or his needs, because we wasn't being sexually, you know, or, you know, like husband and wife should be. And we're young at that, so it was just like, you know,
like, we're not 60, girl, like, you know,
so absolutely, so if I can encourage anybody, you know, just because we're, you know, the woman and, you know, we want the man to, you know, cater to us, we also have to cater to, you know, our significant other, you know, husband or boyfriend. We should cater to them, because they have emotions, they have needs as well. It's not just, you know, a lot of times I hear people say 50-50. I feel like it's 100-100. I'm going to give you 100 of me, and I want you to give me 100 of you.
Right.
So I would just encourage, you know, anybody, to just be real, be understanding to the other person's feelings and needs. Like, don't just push them away, or don't just think like, oh, well, what are you doing for me? Because, like, my husband is literally a provider, a family man, and so family oriented. Like, he will give us the world if he could. Right. And to think that I was just being selfish, because, like I said, I was just in my own little, that season, I just was, I don't know what was going on with me or whatever. So be considerate of your spouse or your significant other feelings. Communicate, because that's what we wasn't doing a lot of.
Again, I appreciate your honesty and being transparent and just being able to share that. I'm sure it takes a lot of courage to be able to share it, but to share it and to see like we got through it. You know, and that's with anything in a relationship. I think to the women out there who may be going through it or trying to figure out how to get through it, and you're considering leaving your spouse, you have to do what's best for you. I think that's the number one thing, doing what's best for you, doing what's best for your family. If you have children together, if you have whatever it is that you built with this person, I think you have to just do what's best for you. And we have to stop listening to what other people tell us to do, or, you know, kind of we want like so many opinions from other people that your kid can get so cloudy and so like all over the place that you don't even know what to do, because you then got about 16 different opinions. This person tell you to do this, this person tell you to do that, and the person that you're with, you're not listening to that person. Like they're trying to tell you something, and we kind of just shut them down because, you know, they're wrong. They have no right to say anything or even explain themselves. What I will say is, now women can take way more than men do, because I don't. My husband already said if I was cheating him, he out. You know, like
yes,
it's just they just emotionally can't take it. I guess just the visual or the idea of just thinking about that. But you know, again, it's to each his own.
2019. About to be 2020, and we're happy.
That's good. You know, at the end of the day, like you said, we just hope that women out there and men in relationships that you can get through it. You know, I guess I personally have not been through anything to this degree at all. Having the patience and the love and knowing the person that you're with really can help a relationship grow and get stronger. So I thank Chanel. I thank you so much for coming on here and telling your story. It is greatly appreciated, and I'm sure it's going to touch so many women out there who see this and uplift you and just encourage you, you know, and see you as like, wow, like she went through it, and now, you know, it can, I can get through it too, you know, if I truly try. So I'm gonna make sure you guys like this video, share your, you know, feedback, your comments. Like, what do you think? Do you believe that once a cheater, always a cheater? You know, like, are you that woman who does not see it any other way? Comment below and let us know what you think. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I want to thank everyone who has subscribed thus far and has been watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys